Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever this message is reaching you out from. Okay, this is 9:52 in Lagos, Nigeria, and we are live streaming. Okay, so we want to check out market analysis. I was supposed to do this on Monday, but I've been busy since this week. But let's just go over it again. Okay, all right. Now I'm gonna be sharing my screen. Okay. Now let's start with the best performing stock for last week, which we're supposed to go over on Monday. Then we take the analysis we have for this week. Okay. So the first one, which is ranking number one, is AVA Capital, which opened at around 8.25 naira and closed at around 11 naira. That is a 33.33% gain. And we have the second one, which is the FCMB group, which opened at around 11.45 naira and closed at around 12.95 naira, which is a 13.10% gain. And we have this one, I think I called it at around 9 naira and at 12.95 naira. That should be over 20 to 30% gain thereabout. So if you are still holding it, because it hasn't gotten to our target since I called it. Okay. Now we have the First Bank holding, which opened at around 129.55 naira and closed at around 145.40, which is a 12.23% gain. And I call this at 15 naira or 55 naira thereabout. So if you're on this group, you should be able to have access to this. And look at where we are right now. This is a lot. Okay. And now we have the Fortress Global Insurance, which opened at around 2.34 and closed at around 2.60, which is a 11.11% gain. Okay, then we have the Linkage Assurance, which opened at around 1.60 and closed at around 1.77, which is a 10.63 gain. We have the Captain Offshore Support, which opened at around 5 naira and closed at around 5.50, which is a 10% gain. We have the Etrana, which opened at around 33 naira and closed at around 36.30, which is amounting to a 10% gain. Then we have this Nigerian Real Estate Trust Fund, which opened at around 103 naira and closed at around 113 naira, which is a 9.71% gain. Then we have Vitafoam, which opened at around 179.80 naira and closed at around 194 naira, which is a 7.90% gain. Then we have this Cornerstone Insurance. We have Cornerstone Insurance, which opened at around 5.40 naira and closed at around 5.65 naira, which is a 4.63% gain. Now, for last week, top gainers, we only have two stocks there. We have the FCMB and the First Bank holding, which is ranking the second and the third in this in the best performing stock for last week, which is actually good for us. So right now for today, let's go over what we have. So we are going to be looking at one sector in the stock market. Okay, we're going to be looking at the banking sector, but we're supposed to look at two sectors. However, for next week's section, which is on Monday, we're going to be looking at two sections. As for two sections, sectors we're going to be looking at, as for two sectors, okay? So it's going to be a broader one. So I just have a few minutes before I step out. Let's go over it, okay? Let's go over the banking sector that I said we're going to be looking at. So I just opened this. Okay. Now for the banking sector, which I said earlier, we are going to be looking at two stocks. We are going to be looking at the GTCO and the Zenith. So we're going to be looking at the whole finances on these two stocks. Then we're also going to be looking at, we're going to be comparing those stocks and know the one that actually worth the value of our money. So after the technical, we're going to, after the fundamental, we're going to head over to the technical. So let's first start with the fundamental. What I like to see or look or have a first glance of is the liquidity. So I want to make sure that the liquidity is good so that I don't buy a stock that I won't be able to exit, okay? Or I won't be able to sell whenever I want to sell and redeem my money. So as we can see here, we have a 5.0 star, that is 5-star on the GT code, okay? Which shows that if you enter through a market order, you are not going to have too much spread, okay? You are not going to have too much spread. It's going to be a tight spread, okay? Tomorrow, make sure you don't miss the class, our normal lecture. I'm trying to round up what we'll be having for this week so that we don't take it over to next week, okay? Because I already have a lot of things for next week. So I want to round up everything for this week so that we don't take it to next week, because I already prepared what we have for next week, but I've been busy here and there, but we have to finish it up. So let's start with the finances for the GTCO. Now, I would like to start with the most recent one, okay, which is the quarter statement, okay? So right now, the only statement available for us right now is the Q1 statement. So the Q2 is supposed to be out, but I don't know why, but we have the Q1 available. So we look at the Q1 and we judge with the Q1 statement. Let's start with the gross earning. As you can see, we have a 9.19% increase in the gross earning, which is actually good. We want to see increase in the earning of any business. This is good. Then the net interest earning, we have a 14.29% increase. That shows that they made money from whatever they invested in. Okay, probably they invested in some business, or they actually loaned some money out, or anyhow. But we have seen that the gross interest income is actually good, and we had an increase when compared to last quarter. Okay, that's good. Now the non-interest income, we can see that the non-interest income plucked down to 17.0%. So we had a sharp decrease in that, which I don't really like. Okay. However, in business, we have ups and downs. This shows that the money as a bank, the money they made from probably their transfer, FX rates, all these things went down when compared to last quarter. Not really bad, but it's something that should be worked on. Okay. So the operation income went high, means they are spending money to make sure that the business is looking good. Okay, so this is good. Now this is where it gets tricky. Okay, most people don't really understand this. Total expenses. Now for total expenses, we want to see it down this way. Okay, we want to make sure that they are cutting down expenses while making money from other means. Okay, means they make more money than they spend that money, which is actually good for business. What we are seeing here is good for business. Okay, now the profit after tax is lower than previous quarter. This doesn't really matter. Okay, when this will start to matter is when you start seeing this depreciation over the long period of time. Okay, probably over years, 2 years, and the bank is still having the profit after tax is going lower than previous year. It's going lower than previous year, and this thing just continues this way. Then you can now say, okay, this is actually terrible, or is something to to start thinking otherwise. You understand? So that's all we have for now. So what we're going to do right now is to check the Zenith Bank. Okay, so let's head over to the Zenith Bank. Let's check the Zenith Bank. So after this section, you'll be able to know the ones you are going to buy. Like I said we're going to give out free stocks. Okay, so anytime I come on live, you get free stocks. So if you want free stocks, they are not going to be typed on the Telegram channel anymore, you come and know why you are buying that thing, so that you don't buy blindly. Okay, you come to the session, you learn with us and know why you are buying whatever you are buying, so that you just don't follow people blindly online. Okay, and that's how we do it here, and that's how we'll be doing it henceforth. Okay, now I said I start with the liquidity. At first glance, liquidity is also good, similar to what we have on the GT. Okay, so let me now break down other things. So let's start with what we have now. The Q1 is out, the Q2 is expected to be out very soon. Let's just go with what we have. Okay, now the gross earning has increased by 6%, which is good. Now the net interest income has increased by 6.40%, which is also good. Now the non-interest income, now you can see that on the GT we had a decrease, but right now we have we have an increase in this section. Okay, we have 23.93% increase. This is excellent and wonderful. We have the operating income, which is 8.22% when compared to last quarter. This is also good. Now the total expenses, like I said previously, we want to make sure we are making more income and reducing our expenses. You understand? Now we have this, which is down, and this is good for business. Now we have the profit after tax, which is 0.70% increase when compared to last quarter. Now this is actually good, something nice. Okay, now what are we going to do right now? We are going to compare which one is actually good for our money. So we want to make sure that we are not buying something that is overpriced. Okay, so we want to make sure we are buying something that is actually worth our money. We want to put our money in something that is actually worth it. So let's now compare both together. Now let's compare this with this. Okay, so we're going to compare both of them together. Now, why am I comparing both of them? When you look at the share price, you see that they have a little bit of similarity. That is just like 4 naira there about that the GT has, that is greater than this Zenith Bank. Okay, so that is that. But when we now look at the market cap, we see that the Zenith Bank has more market cap than the GT. Then we look at the PE, we can see that the PE of the Zenith Bank is lower than the GT Co, and the EPS is higher than GT Co. That shows already that the Zenith is good for business. Okay, it's good for business. Now the dividend yield, this has more, that is GT Co than this. Both of them are in an identical industry. Then we look at the performance price change. You can see that investors are paying more attention to the Zenith. Look at the price change of this and of the Zenith. Sorry for that. So look at the price change of this and the Zenith and the GT Co. You can see that this is making more numbers than this, because investors are paying more attention to this. This is a good value for money than this. I'm not saying the GT is a bad value for money, but when let's say you are left with one option, then I'll suggest this for you. Okay, I'll suggest the Zenith for you. Okay, but for both options, then that is good, because on our premium Telegram, we already have both of them. So if you want to see these things earlier, come on board, you will see them earlier. Okay, now look at the income. We already checked this previously. You can see that this is doing more numbers than this, and where this actually failed a little, this made money. Okay, that is the non-interest income. This made money. Okay, now when you come to their total assets, of course you can see right here the Zenith has more assets than the GT. More asset will lead to more liability. I've always said this. So if you are conversant with my class, you should be able to understand more asset, more liability. Okay, because you need to borrow more to do more. Okay, now you can see the total equity, it is more than this. When you check the cash flow, you can see the net operation, everything sits where, yes, this is supposed to be the way it is. I'm okay with the net cash from investing. I'm okay with the net cash from financing. It looks good on this side. Okay, so that's all we have for both of them. Now, like I said, both of them are not bad to invest in. Okay, now this is one part of the section. we need to check the technical. This is where most people ignore. You just buy something, you don't check the technical where those things are right now, so that you can know if they are in the proper zone to buy. Okay, you need to check the technical as well. But for the fundamental, I think I'm cool with what I'm seeing right now. So let's head over to the technical and see what we have for the technical. Okay, now for the technical part of it, let's start with the GT. Okay, GT code. So let's start with the GT. So I would like to use a weekly time frame. Okay, now for the weekly time frame, we can see that prices has already gotten into our Fibonacci range, which we want to see. Like I told you, I said I had called this thing earlier for those people on my premium, so they got the fast entry, but it is still good for a buy. It is still proper for a buy right now. So, and we are expecting about let's just say from where we are right now, we're expecting about 22% increase. And this is how I've been going about most stocks that I call for most people. If we even check out the First Bank, that is how I went about it. So even let's say we check out the First Bank, First Co, or First Holdings, however, First Holdings. Okay. So if we check out the First Holdings that I called previously, you can see it is just the same analysis. But I just took that out. It is just the same analysis. We got it at 50 here from the Fibonacci zone, which came from the down to the up here that we got. Okay. So you can see it sat well on our Fibonacci zone before I called out that stock on the Telegram channel. You can go and check it and confirm for yourself. Okay. Then we now went up, and I said this was the target at this range. I think I told everyone to take some of their profits, okay, or all your profit depending. Then we are but I took like 60% and I left 40. So if I see the candle break this level, then I will exit and wait for a reversal, just like I have plotted here for another going forward. You can see I already have my movement there. Okay, so let's go back to what we were doing. I said GTCO. GTCO. We can see that we already entered the Fibonacci zone and we're expecting much price movement. So we have settled this. So let's go to the Zenith Bank. Okay, for the Zenith Bank, let's see if the zones are okay for me. Okay, Zenith Bank, Zenith Bank. Okay, so we have this here. I already called this earlier. Okay, look at it. You see, we're already there and we are going up. So we're already up on that one. So we're expecting to take our profit very soon. Let's see how this month goes. We take profit from the Zenith Bank. Okay, so we can see that we are seeing the same analysis sitting well on our Fibonacci zone, and we are exploring to the upside. So that's all we have for today. If you have any questions, you can ask before we leave this section. So if you have any questions, you can ask your questions if you have any question. So I have just probably like 5 minutes, then I'll be stepping out. So if you have any questions, please, you can ask. You can indicate and ask. Tomorrow we're having a class, normal proper class, so you can attend as well, and a lot will be there. And next week we have another stock session again. So if you have any question, but if you are good with what you just saw, then you now have 2 free stock calls for yourself, and you can enjoy that. Okay. Okay, Mr. Matthew, do you have any question, please? Do you have any question? I know this came in from 2. I understand, but I needed to just finish up what we have for this week then, so that we can focus on next week. I have some other stocks that I want to look at next week. Okay, so if we get to I already unmute you so you can talk. If we get to 10, 12, I'll be ending this session, then I call it a day. So we have just 1 minute. If I didn't get anything, then we end it. Okay, so we are done for today. Have a nice day ahead. Trade carefully, invest what you can afford, and see you guys in the next session. Thank you.